Out of all the moments we thought would break Claire, nothing comes close to this. Not the wars, not the losses, but finally standing face to face with the one person she never thought she'd see again, her father. And the most shocking part? This meeting might not just change Claire's future. It could rewrite everything we thought we knew about time itself. In Outlander Season 8 Episode 9, the story takes a deeply emotional and unexpected turn. And everything begins to feel different. The tension from the previous episode hasn't gone anywhere. The threat of the Battle of King's Mountain is still hanging over everyone. Jamie is still preparing for what could be his final fight, and the world around Fraser's Ridge feels like it's on the edge of collapse. But at the same time, something much bigger is quietly building in the background. Something far more personal. Claire has always been at the center of the show's mystery, especially when it comes to time travel. But until now, her past has always felt just out of reach, like a story that was never fully told. And that's exactly what makes this episode so powerful. Because instead of focusing only on war or survival, the story shifts towards something emotional, something intimate, something that feels almost unreal. We begin to see small hints that something is about to happen. Claire starts experiencing strange feelings again. The same kind of sensations she felt before major time shifts in the past. There's this quiet uneasiness, like the world isn't fully stable anymore. And if you've been following the show closely, you already know that these moments are never random. They always lead to something big. At the same time, there are subtle clues connected to the gemstones and the rules of time travel. The show has been slowly reminding us that time doesn't always move in a straight line. Sometimes it bends. Sometimes it connects people in ways we don't expect. And this is where things start to get really interesting. Because what if Claire's past was never truly gone? What if the people she lost were never completely out of reach? As the episode builds, we start to feel that something is pulling Claire in a specific direction. It's not just curiosity. It's not just memory. It feels stronger than that, almost like destiny. And this is where the idea of her father comes into play. For years, Claire has lived with that loss, with that unanswered part of her life. We've heard about him, we've seen glimpses of her memories, but we've never truly experienced that connection on screen. And now suddenly, it feels possible. What makes this even more emotional is how unexpected it is. The show doesn't just throw this moment at us. It builds toward it slowly, carefully, almost quietly. And that's what makes it hit so much harder. Because when it finally happens, it doesn't feel like just another twist. It feels like something that was always meant to happen. Something that was waiting for the right moment. At the same time, everything else continues moving forward. Jamie is still preparing for war, and we know that his fate is uncertain. There's still the question of whether he survives the battle or not. There's still the tension between duty and love, between fighting for the future and holding on to the past. And somehow, Claire's possible reunion with her father becomes connected to all of this. Because if time really is shifting, if these connections are becoming real, then it could mean that the rules we believed in no longer apply. And that changes everything. Because this might not just be about Claire meeting her father. This could be about understanding why she was chosen, why she can travel through time, and why her story feels so deeply connected to every major event in this world. It raises a bigger question. Was all of this random? Or was it always part of a larger design? As we move deeper into the episode, the emotional weight continues to grow. Claire isn't just dealing with the possibility of seeing her father. She's also dealing with fear. Because what if this moment doesn't last? What if time takes it away again? And more importantly, what if this meeting reveals something she's not ready to face? Because in a story like Outlander, every answer comes with a cost. And right now, it feels like Claire is about to pay that cost. As the episode moves forward, the emotional tension around Claire Fraser continues to build in a way that feels almost overwhelming. At this point, it's no longer just about strange sensations or small hints. Something is clearly happening, and Claire can feel it more strongly than ever. There's a shift in her behavior. She becomes quieter, more focused, like she's trying to understand something that doesn't fully make sense yet. And if you followed her journey throughout Outlander, you know that she never ignores these instincts. Every time she feels something like this, it leads to a moment that changes everything. At the same time, The world around her refuses to slow down. Jamie Fraser is still preparing for the Battle of Kings Mountain, and the pressure on him is heavier than ever. This doesn't feel like just another fight. It feels final. The kind of moment where one wrong decision could end everything. And that creates a powerful contrast in the episode. On one side, you have Jamie moving toward war, toward possible death. And on the other side, Claire is being pulled toward something deeply personal, something connected to her past. And the more these two paths develop, the more they start to feel connected. We begin to see Claire trying to understand what's happening to her. She reflects on everything she knows about time travel. The gemstones, the buzzing, the feeling of being pulled between moments. But this time it feels different. It's not just about traveling through time. It feels more precise, more targeted. Almost like she's being guided. And that idea alone is enough to change how we see everything. Because if time isn't random, then that means someone or something is controlling it. This is where the idea of her father becomes even more important. For years, Claire has lived with questions about him. Not just about who he was, but about what he meant to her life. And now, with everything that's happening, it starts to feel like those questions are finally about to be answered. The episode begins dropping subtle hints, small emotional triggers, moments where Claire pauses, like she's remembering something she didn't even realize was still inside her. These aren't loud or dramatic scenes, but they hit deeply because they feel real. And then there's a moment, a quiet realization. Claire starts to believe that this isn't just coincidence. That maybe somehow, she's being led to him. At the same time, the danger surrounding Jamie adds another layer of tension. Because while Claire is being pulled toward her past, Jamie is moving closer to a future that might not include her. And that creates this emotional pressure that keeps building throughout the episode. What if these two things are happening at the same time for a reason? What if Claire's reunion with her father is connected to Jamie's fate? That possibility changes everything. Because if Claire is about to experience something powerful enough to reconnect her with someone she lost, then it might also be preparing her for something equally painful. And this is where the episode becomes truly suspenseful. Because you can feel that something is coming, but you don't know exactly what it is. Every scene feels like it's building toward a moment that could either heal Claire or completely break her. And the show does something really smart here. It doesn't rush. It takes its time, letting the tension grow naturally, letting the emotions settle in before the big moment arrives. Meanwhile, there are also subtle connections being made to the larger story. The idea that time travel isn't just a tool, but something more meaningful. Something that connects people across generations. And if that's true, then Claire's meeting with her father might not just be a personal moment. It could be part of a much bigger picture. Because think about it. If Claire can reconnect with someone from her past in this way, then what else is possible? Could other characters experience the same thing? Could timelines start to overlap in ways we've never seen before? And more importantly, could this change how the story ends? As these questions start to build, one thing becomes clear. This episode isn't just setting up an emotional reunion. It's setting up a turning point. A moment that could redefine everything we thought we understood about Claire, about time travel, and about the story of Outlander as a whole. And the most intense part? Claire is getting closer to the truth. But she still has no idea what it's going to cost her when she finally reaches it. Now this is where everything starts to come together. And at the same time fall apart. Because just when it feels like Claire Fraser is getting closer to the truth, the emotional weight of what's about to happen becomes impossible to ignore. The signs are no longer subtle. The pull she feels is stronger, more direct, almost impossible to resist. And for the first time, it feels like Claire isn't just reacting to time, she's being called by it. At this point in Outlander, the story slows down in a very deliberate way. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is about to happen. Claire begins to isolate herself, not out of fear, but out of focus. She's trying to understand this connection. This force that keeps drawing her somewhere she can't yet see. And the more she tries to explain it logically, the less sense it makes. Because this doesn't feel like science anymore. It feels personal. And that's when the realization begins to hit her. This isn't just about time travel. This is about someone. Her father. The episode builds this idea in such a quiet but powerful way. Memories start to feel more vivid. Emotions she buried years ago begin to surface again. Not as flashbacks, but as feelings, deep emotional echoes that don't belong to the present. And Claire starts to understand something that completely changes her perspective. Maybe time isn't just something she moves through. Maybe it's something that remembers her too. At the same time, the situation with Jamie Fraser becomes even more intense. The reality of the battle is getting closer, and you can feel the weight of it in every moment. Jamie is preparing himself mentally for what might be his final fight. There's a quiet acceptance in him now, like he knows what's coming but refuses to step away from it. And that creates this emotional contrast that keeps getting stronger. Claire is being pulled toward a reunion, while Jamie is moving toward a possible goodbye. And the question becomes unavoidable. Are these two moments connected? Because if Claire is about to meet her father, it might not just be a coincidence in timing. It could be happening exactly when she needs it the most. Right before everything changes. Right before she might lose the one person she fought through time to be with. And that possibility makes everything feel heavier. As the episode builds toward its most important moment, Claire finally stops resisting. She stops questioning whether this is real or not. And instead, she chooses to follow it. That decision alone is powerful, because it shows how much she's changed. Earlier in the series, Claire always needed answers before taking a step. But now, she trusts the feeling. She trusts that whatever is waiting for her is meant to be. And this is where the tension reaches its peak. Because the closer she gets, the more uncertain everything becomes. The world around her feels different, quieter, almost disconnected, like she's standing between two moments in time, not fully in one, not fully in the other. And if you've seen how Outlander handles these transitions before, you already know what that means. Something life-changing is about to happen. But here's the twist. The show doesn't rush into the reunion. It holds it back, just enough to make you feel every second of anticipation. Every step Claire takes feels heavier, more emotional. Like she knows that once this moment happens, nothing will ever be the same again. Because meeting her father isn't just about seeing someone she lost. It's about facing a part of herself she left behind. And at the same time, it raises one of the biggest questions of the entire episode. What if this meeting isn't just a gift? What if it's a warning? Because in a story where time bends, where the past and future constantly collide, moments like this don't happen without a reason. And as Claire moves closer to finally seeing her father, you can't help but feel that whatever she's about to discover is going to change everything. And then, the moment finally happens. Not in a loud or dramatic way, but in the quietest, most emotional way possible. Because when Claire Fraser finally comes face to face with her father, time almost feels like it stops. There's no war, no chaos, no outside noise, just a single moment that carries years of loss, questions, and emotions all at once. And what makes it even more powerful is how real it feels. There's no confusion in Claire's eyes this time. No doubt. She knows exactly who she's looking at. But here's where things get even deeper. This meeting doesn't feel like a dream. And it doesn't feel like a normal time travel moment either. It feels stable, almost like this version of time is allowing them to exist together, even if just for a short while. And that changes everything we thought we understood about how time works in Outlander. Because if Claire can meet her father like this, not just see him, but actually be present with him, then it means time isn't as limited as we believed. It means certain moments can be created, or maybe even chosen. The emotional weight of this reunion is something Claire can't control. For so long, she lived with unanswered questions, with memories that felt incomplete. And now, suddenly, she has the chance to fill those gaps. But instead of rushing into words, the scene takes its time. There's a pause, a silence that says more than anything else could. Because sometimes just being there is enough. At the same time, there's something slightly unsettling beneath the surface. Because while this moment feels perfect, it also feels temporary. And Claire knows it. You can sense it in the way she reacts, in the way she tries to hold on to every second. She understands that this might not last, and that makes every part of it more intense. It's not just a reunion. It's a moment she might have to lose all over again. And that's what makes it so emotional. Because even when time gives something back, it doesn't always let you keep it. Meanwhile, the tension outside this moment hasn't disappeared. Jamie Fraser is now closer than ever to the battlefield. And everything is moving toward that inevitable clash. The episode keeps reminding us of this in subtle ways, cutting back to the reality that while Claire is experiencing something deeply personal, the world around her is still moving forward. And that creates this powerful contrast. One of the most emotional moments of her life happening at the exact same time as one of the most dangerous. And this is where the connection becomes clear. Because Claire's meeting with her father doesn't just feel like closure. It feels like preparation. Almost like she's being given something she will need very soon. During this reunion, there's a shift in the emotional tone. It's no longer just about remembering or reconnecting. It starts to feel like Claire is learning something she didn't fully understand before. Not necessarily through direct answers, but through the feeling of the moment itself. There's a sense that this connection between past and present is stronger than she ever realized. And that idea becomes even more important when you think about what's coming next. Because if Claire can reach someone from her past like this, then it might mean she can do more than just travel through time. It might mean she can influence it in ways we haven't seen yet. And that possibility becomes crucial when you consider Jamie's situation. Because if his life is truly at risk, then Claire might be the only one who can change what's supposed to happen. But here's the emotional twist. Even in the middle of this reunion, there's a quiet sadness building. Because no matter how powerful this moment is, Claire knows she can't stay here forever. Time will move again. This moment will end. And when it does, she'll have to return to a reality where everything is uncertain. And maybe that's the real purpose of this scene. Not just to give Claire closure, but to remind her of what she's fighting for. Because when she steps back into her world, back into the chaos and the danger, she won't just be carrying memories anymore. She'll be carrying something stronger. Something that could help her face what's coming. And as this moment slowly begins to fade, one question becomes impossible to ignore. Was this reunion a gift from time? Or the final calm before everything changes?